Hi, I'm Claudia Brown Coulter with Pivotal Peace. I'm your go-to mediator for navigating divorce while parenting children with special needs. I'm also a legal document assistant, LDA, based in the greater Los Angeles area. Today it's Monday, and we really talk about mediation on Monday, specifically around special needs. So let's talk about that IEP. You know that thing? Those meetings that last far too long, the one your spouse don't understand, where people aren't necessarily being fair to your child, or maybe they are and it's just whatever. You've had to fight really hard for that. Let's talk about that thing, because divorce will F that up. It will mess it up. It'll mess it up for everybody. I was actually just having a consultation, like a little free intro, get to know the mediator meeting with someone recently. And, I told this person that the conflict that you have in a divorce can really impact the services your child does not receive. Like, they may be receiving services, but if that IEP lapses, or if you guys are fighting all the time, your child's not going to get those services. The school is not, or the regional center, or whatever organization where you're located, because IDEA is all across the country. It's federal law. They're not going to take care of you. It could be federal law, but they're going to let you figure it out. And who suffers? Your kid. And now this parent knew that. This parent was very well aware of that. She was very educated. So let's talk about the impact of divorce on the IEP. It's really important for you to be collaborative, not just with the team, but with your former spouse, your new co-parent. They're not new, they're just in a new role. Speaking of which, you're in a new role too. You used to be the only parent that the rest of the team dealt with. It's probably not going to be what happens moving forward, at least for a few years. That other parent who wasn't really involved, they're going to want to start appearing involved. And maybe they actually want to be involved. Okay, this is their opportunity to be involved. Or maybe they're just pretending, but as they get involved, they see, oh gosh, this is really good for our child. I need to stay involved. We don't know what motivates people. We don't know. But it's really important for you to stay on the same page, and you have to have consistency. These IEP meetings happen at minimum once a year. You might need to call an addendum. There are services that are happening during the year. There are progress reports that are going home. There are things that you should be doing at home too. Just because it's in the IEP about the school doesn't mean that it's like, oh, we ain't got to do nothing at home. No, you need to be supporting what's happening at school. There needs to be consistency between the two households. So this is your divorce, not the child's divorce. You're not divorcing them as their parent. They're not getting a divorce. You guys are. So you have to really focus about what do they need. They need their parents to be civil to one another, and civil is the bare minimum. Civil to one another long enough to get over their differences, to make sure that they as a child get the services and accommodations and modifications that they need. That is what your child needs. Okay. So then how do we do this? I used to do everything. Now I got to go get a job. I don't have time to do all of this, or whatever. Well, especially if somebody is like, no, I should get 50-50 custody. Well, give them 50% of the responsibilities. You may not trust them, but you may not have a choice. People will rise to the occasion. Look, I feel really strongly about this. People will surprise you, and they can really rise to the occasion post-divorce. They really, really can. So maybe it's that you attend the meetings, but they take them to the therapy appointments. You handle the school communication, and they handle the communication with the other outside providers. You can divvy up responsibilities and stay in communication with one another. You don't have to do it all just because you used to be doing it all. And I feel like most of the times it's a mom. So I'm going to speak to my fellow moms. It feels good to take care of your kid. It feels good to be the responsible one and making sure things get done. But it also feels good to just to get to be a person and not have everything rest on your shoulders and not have to do every single thing. So if your soon to be ex is going to, be like, no, I need to be equally involved, get them equally involved. Assign them a job. Let them do it. You know you're not going to let your kid fail. You know you're not going to do that. Let them do the job. See how they do. They will figure it out. Consider a joint calendar, some sort of shared calendar between the two of you. There are a lot of communication, co-parenting communication apps out there that will allow you to have a shared calendar so you can see when some of these meetings are scheduled. Now, the IEP team is supposed to send you a draft copy of the IEP before the meeting. I personally don't think in my school career I've sat in an IEP where that was ever done. I have never seen a parent walk into a meeting with a draft copy of an IEP, but that's what's supposed to happen. So you should ask for that. Hey, listen, we're going through a divorce. I need to see a draft copy of that IEP. I understand it's a draft. You can write draft all over that sucker. But my co-parent and I need to have a conversation about this so that our time in the actual meeting is productive. I don't know. Are we allowed to do that? Can we do this? I don't know. They're going to do it. They're supposed to do it. You can ask for that. Because do they really want you fighting in the IEP? No, they don't. Listen. They dreading having you come and having to deal with your messy divorce. Ask for an advanced draft copy and ask for it with enough time so that you can, 2 hours ahead of time is not enough time. Ask for it within enough time so that you have time to review. If you're not sure, if the case carrier is not giving it to you, go over their head. Go to the director. Ask for that. It is not about catching the team in any sort of wrongdoing. It is about taking care of your child's needs. And your child needs their parents to be on the same page so that that meeting is productive. And let me tell you something else. The LEA, the local education agency, would much rather have you guys in disagreement with them than sit in that IEP and have you guys fight and be in disagreement with one another. Because they can work and make concessions and have conversations and work on conflict resolution and facilitate an IEP if the school or the LEA and the parents are on 2 different pages. But what are they supposed to do if there's 3 pages? Or what are they supposed to do if parent A is with them but parent B is not there and then they're pulling them into the drama? They cannot work with that. They cannot work with that. Every time I have brought that up in front of SELPA directors, that's what we have in California. They're like, yeah, my program specialists, my school psychologists, they're like, yeah, yes, please. We would much rather be in disagreement with you than have you guys in disagreement with us. I'm sorry, in disagreement with one another because we can't do anything. They're like, we would much rather for you guys to be in disagreement with us than you guys in disagreement with one another. Because when you're like that, we can't do anything. What is a school supposed to do when you sign the IEP and the other parent revokes the rights? Who suffers? It is so easy to blame your former spouse. You can't control their behavior, you can control yours. So be proactive. Get a copy of that beforehand and have a conversation and see, do we agree on anything? And if you don't, before you have an IEP meeting, call me. Let's have a conversation. Let's do some conflict coaching and or some mediation about this issue, about this IEP. What do you want? Why? What do you want? Why? How does this meet your child's needs? Okay, are you in agreement about this? You're not in agreement about this. What are you not in agreement about? Okay, what do you want to ask the school for instead of this? Are you okay with that? Okay. That way, at least you present a unified front, just like you would do in front of your kids. Gotta be a unified front. You have to be a unified front in front of the school district. You have to be a unified front in front of the kids. Dude, you've all been there gangsta. Like, yeah, we getting a divorce, but our kid is number one. We in charge here. We in charge here. We're going to make sure our kids get what they need, because who is the child's best advocate? Their parents. And that's your job to advocate. Okay, now I'm all off on a tangent. Let me get back to things. Sometimes parents don't agree with the identification. That parent is welcome to get an independent education evaluation. You can do that. Depending on your ethnic makeup, it is not uncommon for certain groups of people to be misidentified. So, an independent evaluation, while it's pricey, it might be what's in the best interest of your child. So, just because they're not, maybe they don't agree with the diagnosis, not because they're being difficult, or maybe they have valid reasons. Now, sometimes it's just, I don't want my kid to have that. I don't want my kid to have a label. And I get that. And that is part of the problem with special education, is we label our kids. But your kid needs that support. They need those modifications. They need those accommodations. And if you say no to special services because you don't want them to have a label, they're going to be labeled something else because they're not going to be able to be successful. So it's the lesser of two evils at this point. Okay, so you get to the IEP meeting, or maybe beforehand. If they didn't know, you need to let them know, hey, we're going through a divorce. So we plan to be at these meetings. Please communicate with both of us. Please CC both of us on emails. That way we can stay in the loop. And we commit that if we email someone from the school, we're going to CC the other person. Let them know. They're going to have so much respect for you if you do that. They're going to mess up. They're going to mess up and forget to CC you. And so when you respond, just CC your spouse on your response so that or forward the email to them, right? But they're going to have a lot of respect for you, because I promise you, they see divorcing parents in there all the time, just causing a show. Yes. But not you. Not you. Okay. If you really have to bring an advocate, you could bring an advocate. If you really have to bring an advocate, you can bring an advocate. But in order to work with an advocate, you also need to be on the same page. It doesn't make any sense to bring an advocate in to advocate for your child when their parents aren't agreeing. You need to first meet with a mediator to get on the same page. Your life is changing because of a divorce, and depending on your child's needs and their age, you're going to see different reactions, but it's going to impact them. There's all different signs of stress in children, but primarily you're looking for a change in behavior. You're going to probably see a shift in their academics. You will probably see a change in their friend group. Okay, they may become more isolated and withdrawn. You need to be really on the lookout for those things. And the moment you notice that, you need to talk to their case carrier and say, hey, I'm seeing these things. Their other parent and I are seeing these things. Are you seeing these things? Can we have an addendum? Can we have an extra meeting so we can talk about this, how we can meet these needs? Why not? Or maybe it's not even a function of special education. Maybe is there a counselor that we can get our child? Is there someone on the school campus that could talk to our child? Expect changes to happen, okay? Now, and so if there are changes, if they're struggling, and a lot of times what you'll see, besides anxiety or being withdrawn, there's a regression. They've mastered some skills and they've regressed. Maybe the addendum is about adjusting their goals temporarily. Okay, so the two most important things that I want you to think about is, number one, your child needs parents who can resolve their conflict. It doesn't mean you get along all the time, doesn't mean everything is perfect. It's okay. It's okay. But you're not in a constant state of conflict. That is so much better for your child. They feel that. So you've got to work on resolving these issues. And then 2, there needs to be consistency. A consistency between home and school, and a consistency between home and home. Work on that home and home consistency. That's really important. Getting clear on what needs to happen and what, if it doesn't happen, is okay. You need to work on that consistency. Your children's future success is really dependent upon it. It is dependent upon your ability to resolve the conflict with your spouse and both of your abilities to work together and maintain consistency. It's not going to be perfect, but it's good. It's going to be good. And I'm here to help you mediate even before your divorce so that you guys can be on the same page when it comes to your child's needs and services so that they don't see an interruption of services. All right. Let me know in the comments if you need me to speak about other issues, if you've got questions. I'm here to help.